My beloved child, let your heart open wider than what you have ever thought about yourself. For what I am placing within you is not only meant to soothe the days when you are weary, nor merely to rebuild the places in your life that once felt unsteady. What I am sowing into you carries a far greater meaning. It does not stop with your own story. It is not confined within your personal journey, and it has not been given for you to keep as a treasure buried deep beneath the ground. I am doing a work within you that has the power to spread outward, because beyond you there are hearts thirsting for what you have tasted, people quietly searching for the peace you are learning to preserve, souls standing in the shadows of despair who need only one gentle ray of light to remember that they are still loved. You may not yet know their names. You may never have seen their faces. You may never have heard the painful stories they hide behind their everyday smiles. But I know them, and I am preparing you to become a vessel in my hand, carrying comfort, encouragement, and light to exactly where they are needed. Therefore, in this season, do not only ask me what you will receive, ask me whom you will become a blessing to. Do not only hope that I will open a way for your own footsteps. Allow me to teach you to walk in such a way that every place you enter is touched by my gentleness. There are paths I lead you through not only for your benefit, but because along those paths there is someone who needs a timely word, a compassionate gaze, a presence that does not judge, a hand quietly extended. You do not need to appear great before them. You do not need to clothe yourself in perfection in order to testify of my love. Many times, what I use most powerfully is your sincerity, your calmness, the way you listen without rushing to conclusions, the way you remain beside someone when they no longer know what to say. Those things that seem so small, when placed in my hands, can become a bridge that leads others out of loneliness. I want you to learn to see people with deeper eyes. Do not only look at the appearance they present to the world. Do not only listen to the hurried answers they give to conceal their weariness. Do not judge a person only by their coldness, silence, or guardedness, because there are wounds that cause people to forget how to open their hearts. Some people seem hardened because they have become too familiar with being hurt. Some speak sharply because inside they were neglected for too long. Some always avoid closeness because they are afraid of being disappointed again. My child, the compassion I am shaping within you is not a passing emotion, but the ability to see through layers of covering and recognize a heart that needs to be lifted up. When you carry my love, you will not merely react to what your eyes see. You will learn to listen to what is hidden beneath. Then you will realize that there are situations I open in unexpected ways. Moments that may seem like an ordinary encounter. A brief conversation. An instant when you are present at the right place and the right time. But in my arrangement, nothing is meaningless. Sometimes you enter a room and the peace within you softens an atmosphere of tension without you even knowing it. Sometimes you speak one simple sentence, yet that sentence touches someone who had been asking for a sign not to give up. Sometimes you simply listen to someone in silence, but to them, it is the first time they feel they have not been overlooked. Do not underestimate your presence when you are in me. A person who carries true peace does not need to speak much to make a difference. The purity I have placed within you will shine on its own. Not loudly, not forcefully, but enough to make others feel they can rest. Do you remember the story of the young servant girl in Naaman's house? She was only a small person in a difficult circumstance, living far from her homeland, with no status, no power, and no great voice in the eyes of the world. Yet within her heart there remained a pure faith. She spoke a simple word about the one who could heal through my prophet, and that word opened a journey that led a powerful man toward restoration. Do you see? I do not always need a large stage to reveal my power. I can use a word spoken from a sincere heart. I can use someone considered small to touch someone considered great. I can place in your mouth a timely sentence, in your hands a timely action, and in your presence a timely gentleness, so that what I desire to do may begin in a way no one expects. So do not diminish your role just because you have not yet seen the full result. A seed cannot see the harvest on the first day it is planted, but that does not make it any less valuable. The encouragement you speak today may blossom years later in someone else's life. The forgiveness you practice today may break a chain of bitterness that has stretched across many generations. The peace you preserve today may teach the person standing beside you that there is another way to live, a way of living that is not ruled by fear. I am causing your life to become a quiet invitation, so that those who are weary, when they look at you, may feel that they too can return. They too can be healed. They too can begin again. In this season, I am also kindling within you a new kind of faith. Before, you learned the faith of waiting in silence, waiting when there were no signs, waiting while your heart still trembled, waiting while the door remained closed. That was precious, and I do not disregard a single drop of your patience. But now, I am teaching you the faith of action. This is the faith that knows how to rise when I call, how to walk even when the eyes have not yet seen the whole path, how to speak words of life even when circumstances have not yet changed, how to behave like someone who has already received the promise, even when your hands have not yet touched the outcome. You will no longer merely sit on the edge of hope and gaze into the distance. You will begin to set your feet into the water, and as you walk, you will see the waters part by my power. Do not misunderstand, my beloved. Acting in faith does not mean running ahead of me by your own will, nor does it mean trying to force everything to happen according to your desire. True faith is not noisy, not hasty, and does not need to prove itself through reckless boldness. True faith listens before it steps, but once it has clearly heard my voice, it does not let fear hold it back. It does not need everyone's agreement in order to obey. It does not need perfect circumstances in order to begin. It knows that my word is more trustworthy than what the eyes can see, and my guidance is more certain than every calculation of man. When you live by this kind of faith, your prayers will no longer arise from a posture of desperate pleading, but from deep trust in my goodness. You will pray like someone who knows I am already at work. You will speak like someone who knows I have gone before you. You will walk like someone who knows the door in the spiritual realm has already been opened, and that its manifestation on earth is only a matter of obedience and the right season. There are doors before you that may still appear silent, but in my arrangement, the bolts have already been removed. There are paths you think have not yet formed, but in my intention, every stone has already been set in its proper place. There are encounters you cannot yet imagine, but I prepared them long ago. Your part is not to worry on my behalf, nor to try to hold every detail in your hands. Your part is to keep your heart clean, your ears sensitive, your steps steady, and your love from growing cold. When I urge you to speak, speak with gentleness. When I lead you to help, help without needing applause. When I tell you to step into a new land, step with the humility of one who knows they have been sent, not one who has exalted themselves. And when you witness my power being revealed through your life, always remember that every good thing begins with me. Do not let fruitfulness cause you to forget your dependence. Do not let praise draw you away from the place of prayer. Do not let influence cause you to lose your tenderness. I lift you up, not so that you may stand far from others, but so that you may bend closer to them with mature love. I give you light, not so that you may display your own brightness, but so that the weary may find the way. I place peace within you, not for you to keep to yourself, but so that wherever you are present, that place may be reminded that I am still near. Therefore, my beloved, walk through this season with compassion and courage. Let every word you speak be filtered through love. Every action be guided by wisdom. Every decision be placed beneath my light. You do not need to try to become someone else. Abide in me, and my presence within you will do what you cannot do on your own. I will use your peace to calm hearts that are storm-tossed. I will use your story to ignite hope in those who think they have reached the end of the road. I will use your footsteps to bring light into places that remain dry and barren. And when you dare to act upon what you have not yet seen, you will realize that my promise is no longer something distant, but is gradually taking shape through each day of your obedience. My beloved child, the season you are entering is not merely an outward change, not merely a few doors opening, a few paths shifting direction, or a few circumstances being rearranged in ways you never expected. What I am doing goes much deeper. I am not only preparing the place where you will go, I am preparing you yourself so that you can stand firm when you arrive there. Therefore, do not be consumed only with plans, intention, and steps that your eyes can see. Let me touch your heart, adjust the rhythm of your inner breath, and reorder the hidden things that once caused you to react hastily, anxiously, or to protect yourself in old ways. There are things coming that will not wait for you to prepare at the last minute. There are instructions from me that will require you to respond with peaceful obedience, without delay, without bargaining, without lingering in silent debates with yourself. And to do this, you do not need to become hurried, you need to become ready. The readiness I am speaking to you about is not the state of straining to run ahead of the appointed time, nor is it the impatience of wanting to skip every process. It is the gentle alertness of someone who has learned to listen. It is the steadiness of a heart anchored in me, so that when I softly call, you do not need too long to distinguish what is my voice and what is the voice of fear. Before, perhaps you were used to reacting from wounds, from a sense of lack, from old memories that once made you believe you had to protect yourself at all costs. But now, I am teaching you another way of life. I am placing pure wisdom within you, so that you will no longer see everything through the mist of confusion, but through the light that comes from heaven. When a situation arises, you will no longer immediately ask, "Will this hurt me?" but will learn to ask, "What are you teaching me through this?" When a door has not yet opened, you will no longer rush to conclude that you have been forgotten, but will know how to be still and recognize that my hand is still preserving the good timing. My child, I do not only want to change the scenery around you, I want to renew the way you walk within that scenery. If circumstances change but inside you are still ruled by fear, then you will carry the old pain into the new season. If a door opens but your heart is still controlled by impatience, then what was meant to be a blessing may become heavy. If I give you greater influence while the hidden corners within you have not yet been brought into the light, you may become exhausted by the very thing I intended to use to lift you up. Because I love you, I do not only open the way, I also make you strong enough to walk on it. Because I cherish you, I do not only give good things, I teach you to carry those good things with a mature, tender, and wise heart. Look back at the days that have passed, and you will see that they were not meaningless. The times you encountered conflict, the moments you had to wait longer than you wanted, the days you felt caught between the promise and reality, all of them were my quiet classroom. I do not delight in seeing you suffer, but I use even the things that are difficult to understand to forge within you a holy endurance. Every time you chose silence instead of responding from hurt, you became stronger. Every time you chose prayer instead of speaking bitterness, you became brighter. Every time you held on to peace in the midst of uncertainty, you matured more deeply in my guidance. Do not underestimate those victories no one else saw. Heaven records the steady steps for which the world does not applaud. Some of the greatest battles do not take place before a crowd, but in the moment when you could return to the old way and yet choose to remain in the light. Do you remember the story of Samuel when he was still a child, in the silence of the night? When everything seemed to be asleep, my call sounded. At first, that young boy did not recognize that it was my voice. He ran to Eli, thinking a human being was calling him. But after several times, he was taught how to respond to the true source of the call. My beloved, I am doing something similar with you. There are seasons when I let you pass through repetition, not to weary you, but so that the ears within you may learn to discern. There were times when you thought you had misheard, when you thought it was only a fleeting emotion, a small thought not worth noticing. But I patiently called you, reminded you, and guided you until you learned to bow your heart and answer me with readiness. When you learn to recognize my voice in the darkness, you will no longer need everything to be brightly lit before you dare to step forward. One word from me will be enough for you to rise at the right moment. So do not be saddened when you feel that you are still in a stage of preparation. I know there are times when you think you are ready, that you have waited long enough, learned enough, and endured enough trials. But I see depths that even you sometimes have not yet recognized. I see unnamed fears, expectations that still need to be purified, old emotions that can still rise if someone touches the exact place where you were once wounded. I do not reveal these things to shame you. I only bring light there so that you do not have to carry them into the new season. You do not need to hide before me. I do not come as one who scrutinizes harshly, but as the father who bends down to wipe the dust from the face of the child he loves. The places you thought were weakness, I want to turn into places of stability. The things you feared facing, I want to heal with gentleness. Understand that waiting is not always rejection. Often, it is the embrace of protection. If a child is given the burden of an adult too early, that gift will exhaust the child. If a young tree is placed before the storm, before its roots have gone deep, strong winds will make it sway. I do not want what I give you to become something that crushes you. I do not want you to step into a wider place and lose your peace, your tenderness, or your closeness with me. Therefore, when I delay a door, it is not because I have forgotten what I promised, but because I am completing the foundation within you. The higher a house rises, the deeper its foundation must be. The greater the mission, the more the heart must be kept clean, humble, and enduring. From today onward, let me teach you how to prepare according to the way of heaven. Do not only ask what you will do next, ask what kind of person you need to become in order to step into what comes next. Do not only ask me to open the way, ask me to make your steps upright. Do not only ask for opportunities, ask for the wisdom not to lose yourself within those opportunities. Do not only long for results, allow me to shape your motives before the results appear. For when what I promised begins to take form, you will need a heart that is not easily swept away by praise, not easily shattered by criticism, not impatient in delays, not proud in success, and not confused when I lead you through paths different from what you imagined. I am lifting you higher in the way you see, the way you think, and the way you respond to life. What once frightened you will gradually become the place where you practice peace. What once made you rush will become the place where you learn patience. What once caused you to react from pain will become the place where you respond with grace. You will no longer be dragged around by circumstances as before, because order is being restored within you. You will no longer need everyone else to change first in order for you to be at peace, because your peace will come from my presence and not from the attitude of others. This is the maturity I am sowing into you, not escaping every wind, but knowing how to stand firm when the wind blows, not controlling every event, but knowing how to trust that I am still sovereign in the midst of what you do not yet understand. Therefore, my beloved, prepare your heart like one who keeps a lamp in the night. Keep the oil of prayer, humility, listening, and obedience. When I call, you will know how to rise. When I tell you to go, you will no longer be chained by old reasons. When I tell you to stop, you will not force another step simply because your heart is eager. I am training within you a holy sensitivity, not hurried, but precise, not noisy, but strong, not impulsive, but full of light. Trust me in this process. What I am doing within you is deeper than what you see, more beautiful than what you imagine, and more lasting than what you once prayed for. When the time comes, you will not only step into a new season, you will step into it with a prepared heart, a renewed mind, and a life that knows how to bow low so that every good thing returns to glorify me. My beloved child, there are times when you look at yourself and see only what is still lacking, the cracks not yet healed, the moments of weakness, the steps that once slowed because of fear. But I do not look at you the way you look at yourself. I see what I placed within you before you even knew how to call yourself by name. I see the ember of light still glowing within you, though many seasons of strong winds have blown over you, though many doubtful words have descended like cold mist. You thought your trembling made you unworthy. But my child, I have never chosen a person merely because that person knew no fear. I often choose those who know they are small, because precisely in that smallness, my power has room to be revealed most radiantly. What you call weakness, if placed in my hand, will become a vessel containing grace. What you once saw as a reason to step back, I can turn into a testimony that lifts many people later on. Remember that those I once used did not step into their calling with the appearance of perfection. Some had run away because they were burdened by the past, thinking old mistakes had locked every door ahead. Some heard the call but chose to go in the opposite direction because their hearts were full of resistance and fear. Some stood before the task given to them and kept looking at their own smallness, asking for sign after sign just to be certain they had not heard wrong. But as you see, I did not use their perfection as the foundation for my work. I used my mercy, my patience, and my power to lift them up. I did not erase their names simply because they had hesitated. I did not withdraw the calling simply because they had doubted. I did not turn away simply because they once wanted to hide. And likewise, my child, I do not abandon you in the days when you do not yet have enough courage to believe what I have spoken over your life. Perhaps you have often wondered why I remain so patient with you. Perhaps you have thought that others are stronger, wiser, bolder, and more deserving. But my beloved, I am not looking for someone who can accomplish everything by themselves, because such a person can easily forget the hand that lifted them. I am looking for a heart that knows how to bow down, how to listen, how to return, how to tremble, yet still not leave the light. You do not need to carry the appearance of a warrior before I call you. My calling itself will train you to become someone who can stand firm. The journey with me will make your feet more enduring, your voice clearer, and your vision deeper. Do not wait until fear is gone before you walk. Walk while fear is still there. And you will see that fear has no right to rule over you when my hand is holding yours. I know there are people who do not understand you. They look at your silence and think you are empty. They look at your hidden season and think you have been forgotten. They look at the times when you move slowly, cautiously, differently, and they rush to judge what they were never entrusted to understand. But my child, not everyone is permitted to see the map I have placed in your heart. Not everyone has the ability to recognize a seed while it is still lying quietly beneath the soil. You do not need to go everywhere, explaining your calling to those who only want to argue. You do not need to diminish what I have confirmed just to please people who never interceded for you in the darkness of night. What you need is not the applause of the crowd, but the agreement that comes from me. And I have confirmed you in many ways, in quiet hours, when your heart was suddenly kept from despair. In the times you thought you had given up, but still felt a gentle strength drawing you to rise again. In the doors that closed to protect you from the wrong path. And in the moments no one saw, I whispered into the deepest place within you that you still belong to, my good purpose. Remember Elijah, the one who once stood on Mount Carmel and witnessed my power revealed gloriously, but afterward became so exhausted that he wanted to lie down beneath a tree and go no farther. People often remember the fire from heaven, but few remember the moment when that servant was weary, lonely, and thought he had reached the end. I did not come to Elijah with harsh rebuke. I sent an angel to bring him bread and water. I allowed him to rest, then nourished him again, because I knew the journey ahead was still long. Do you see? I am not only the one who sends, I am also the one who cares for the one being sent. I do not only give a mission, I also give strength, support, comfort, and the appointed time of restoration. Therefore, when you are tired, do not think that you have failed. There are times when the holiest thing you can do is allow me to care for you. Allow me to soothe the tension within you. Allow me to restore the rhythm of peace before you continue on the path that has been set. The season ahead will not be like the season you have just passed through. I am preparing for you a new season of sowing. But you must understand this with wisdom. This sowing is not only the prayers, plans, dreams, or good works you offer. You yourself will also become a seed in my hand. I will place you in places you once thought were too dry for anything to bloom. I will bring you near to people who seem to have completely closed their hearts to the light. I will let you step into circumstances that ordinary eyes would call impossible. But in my plan, there are fields waiting for rain. Do not be quick to judge the place where I place you by its outward appearance. Many lands look barren only because the season of flowing water has not yet come. Many people seem distant only because they have not yet encountered a witness who carries my gentleness and patience. Many doors appear silent only because you have not yet set foot there at the right time. When I sow you, I do not abandon you in the dark soil. A seed is buried, not to be forgotten, but to be sheltered until the day it sprouts. There may be times when you feel unseen, unrecognized, or misunderstood, but my beloved, being hidden in my hand is not the same as being forgotten. It is the place where I make your roots deeper, your motifs purer, and your heart steadier before fruit appears. If a tree blossoms too early, while its roots are not yet deep enough, a single strong wind can make it sway. So do not despise the quiet days. Do not rush to escape the process simply because you have not yet seen the result. What I am building in you requires depth, and depth is often formed in the place with the least noise. Then the time will come when what I have sown through you begins to sprout, not because your talent surpasses everyone else's, not because you know how to calculate every step, and not because you have become limitless. The miracle will come because my power lifts up what is small, because my wisdom opens a way where you thought there was only a dead end, because my holy breath revives the places that seem dry and depleted. When that happens, you must guard your heart from pride. Remember who lifted you when you could not stand on your own. Remember who called you when you were still hiding. Remember who rekindled the light within you when you thought everything had gone out. The fruit does not come so that your name may be raised above mine, but so that through your life, others may recognize that my kindness is still at work in this world. Therefore, my child, prepare your heart with humility, prepare your mind with alertness, and prepare your steps with obedience. Do not let the voices outside cause you to forget the voice I have placed within you. Do not let the old past become chains that bind you to a place I have called you to leave. Do not let delay make you doubt the promise, because I am never late in anything that belongs to eternal purpose. When you cannot yet see the path, hold on to peace. When no one understands you yet, remember that I understand you completely. When you feel that the flame within you is only a small spark, bring it close to me. The spark in your hand may seem fragile, but in my breath, it can become a lamp that guides many who are lost. I am calling you to keep walking, not with haste, but with steady faith. Let your life become the soil I have plowed, the seed I have sown, the field I have watered, and the harvest I bring to ripeness at the right time. You do not need to lift yourself up. You only need to remain in my hands. You do not need to make everyone acknowledge you. You only need to be faithful to what I have entrusted to you. And when the day of blooming comes, you will understand that not a single tear was wasted. Not a single season of waiting was meaningless. Not a single moment of trembling caused me to love you any less. I have gathered all of it, sanctified it, arranged it, and turned it into a beautiful path, so that my name may shine through the very life that once thought itself too small.